The modern marketing dilemmas. We've already covered 4 of the dilemmas that we are facing as of today in any business or company in the marketing departments that affect not only marketing but everyone else around it. Brand building and metrics. The role that a brand plays on the decision journey of a customer. How well brand value can affect price sensitivity, and what can we do on recession and when prices are going up as we know today. Those are 4 of the main topics that were covered last week, with each one having their own examples and data validating everything around it. Now we are facing the last 3 of them, crucial to understand the future and what is ahead of us in time. If you missed last week's episode, I really recommend you to check it out to understand some part of the context of this Kantar report of marketing dilemmas that I'm bringing today to you. So now sit back and fasten your seatbelts because we are on this zigzagging journey towards epiphany. To whom it may concern, welcome to CommonSense, your safe haven. If anyone is listening, please keep in mind that we are together on this journey. This will always be your safe place to share your ideas, your thoughts, your comments, anything. So before we jump right back into the podcast, I have one simple question that I would like to ask you. What would you like to start with? Let's pick up where we left it last week, which is how can prove marketing that adds value to our brand? How marketing actually proves that? In marketing, we fall head over heels for a good disagreement. We love that. So really dispute the fact that a good old marketing model is able to get around the wall and boost any brand around it. Okay, we fight for that. We even weaken our own position between marketing departments, between companies, because we all have a way of seeing the world, of applying the campaigns, of everything. Mainly because creativity allows room for different elements to influence it. And this is one of the elements that marketing is not a doctrine, and there are so many models and so much innovation around it and creativity and everything around it. So to have some third-time agreement, or at least a common point of view or a rule to follow around, we will go through a framework called meaningfully different. Okay, a hypothesis that was proved 15 years ago, and validation has been quite positive around this framework, having data to support it and budget that has been proved and carried through this methodology. Okay, now you all have every method, so if if you have any one different or any different views of how applying marketing methodology, comment down below and we'll see on that. But let's have some point of agreement moving forward. Value creation, we talked about it, most important job in any business, not only for the marketing department, but for every department. But marketers, as we always agree that high quality marketing, high quality campaigns can be a key differentiation in driving the brand growth, okay, and being that value creation. It's like, for me, I like to call marketers as value engineers. Yeah, we don't have an engineer degree, but we kind of do the same thing as engineer. We have product creation, but we do it with the value, okay? So if we do marketing correctly, if marketing is done correctly, an outstanding touch will make people buy more. Undeniable. Higher price will come afterwards, and this will have a knock-on effect, just like a domino, where the business profit margin will rise like crazy. If you want data to support it, a McKinsey research or report based on research on the SP 1500 companies estimated that business can pocket around 8% of profit if they increase prices by 1%. This is all done by this value engineer that I love to call. So when to put more effort, when is the right moment to put more effort, especially on hard times? Well, I already answered you. On hard times, right now, in inflation, some moment of crisis, is where those value engineers need to be on top of companies, just like every time, more than ever. Sorry. The reason why is because we don't only need to sustain our current base of customers, we need to prepare them and we need to get new customers predisposed for the future. So when decisions and things of change come that are super hard, we will be ready and consumers will be also. Some cases of examples, Coca-Cola are experiencing as of today a 12% year-on-year growth in value increases. And this was all because they intended to raise prices. So they work immediately hard and super fast on value creation, growing at 12%, so they could increase prices without no repercussion. Have you ever heard of Coca-Cola prices going up? I haven't. So you have it there. This is because the perception matters like crazy. Jeremy Bullmore and Stephen King, once said the following: when choosing between product A or product B, most knives cut, but people are happy to pay more for some, and they are not deceived in any way. Two knives cuts the same way, but we pay an insane amount of money for one and not for the other. Coke, spirits are pretty much the same, but we pay more for Coca-Cola than for other. We pay more for a car than for other. And the concept of them are the same one. Fizzy drinks, a wheel, a vehicle with 4 wheels, a knife that cuts, an utensil that cuts through. It's all about the perception we have over the brand, about the characteristic, and about the product itself. So, if we put that effort, we work now more than ever on the perception, and we evolve our topics, our strategies, we could also connect mentally with consumers in ways that we haven't done before. So that perception can drive behavior, and that behavior can drive into further sales that have a higher price. This is the equation that we've been running through our dilemma all way long. Now, we have a dilemma here. Depending on which side you sit on, there are ones that said that budget should be spent on persuading customers, persuasion. And there are others who are trying to widen the focus and get the higher distributions, get more products, get higher penetration, like we said on point 1 of our dilemma. So it's about, do we persuade customers? Do we increase availability and penetration? This is why marketers love to disagree. There is no right answer. There is nothing to actually say. But there's one thing that we all agree on is effectiveness, and the evidence suggests that its prominence has risen within the business, is this effectiveness of methodologies. So it's all about what to measure. Because marketers tend to be short-sighted. They don't look at data too much, just for the budgets. And they still complain a lot about data. 42% of marketers believe that they need access to data they currently don't have. 42% said that they make decisions based on instinct because they don't know anything else besides the return of investment. 14% want to expand their performance some way or the other. They want to have better performance capabilities. And that same number still rely on the return of investment as the coach of success. This means marketing wants to expand knowledge, they want to take decisions based on data, but all they have is return of investment. So whose fault is this here? Well, this is partly fault of the data business analytics departments, the sales reports, etc., and the financials. The combination of the information is missing for marketers. They tend to take information purely based on instinct, and that's not good. That's no bueno. That is why everyone tends to lay for advertising as their go-to or their main job, which is let's get a better enrichment and persuade. Almost 3/4, 73% of brand side marketers don't consider that improving the brand equity is the evidence of marketing effectiveness. They do this. They focus on communication campaigns instead of equity because they don't have data to actually tells them, hey, if you work on customers and non-customers for the future, this would be the benefit that this brings to your company. Okay, they only work on communication campaigns because they are lacking the information needed to understand why other campaigns could be the future for them. Okay, and the element of disruption that companies don't understand is that it's not about being famous. We cannot be a company thinking that we will be famous because that's not how things work. That's only 1% of the world. We need to build brands thinking to be meaningful, having a keyword definition that goes to the end of our existence as a company, as a business, as a brand, as a person, whatever. That's my goal right now, have a keyword that defines myself. I don't have it. I need to work forward to it. I need to constantly improve myself. Okay? So, what does data shows? If we actually would have the data, what that is show? Demand power. Based purely on perception, if we were able to transmit the perception of customer to the marketing teams, okay? A high demand power brand has 9 times higher volume share, okay? Market share is 9 times higher if we have perceptions done correctly. If we have a good pricing strategy that's translating a higher pricing power because we transmitted our characteristic well enough, we'll have 2 times, our consumer will pay 2 times more than any competitors. Double the amount of price. If we sell at once as 2, we sell at 100, 200. That's how it goes. If we work on the elasticity of the pricing economy through finance and maths, and we increase the price sensitivity through our characteristic and our brand value, twice the amount of money people would pay. Okay? People are happy to pay double for something that has high pricing power that satisfies the need and it has clearly understanding and difference all around. Pricing power is something we've seen repeatedly. Pay attention. The future power, okay? The probability that a brand will grow in the next 12 months, it's 4 times more likely for those with defined values that are validated and works. And lastly, activation. Yes, that equity that we've been talking about, considering buyers and not buyers. If we convert consumers' predisposition into a brand choice, we are easy to be in the mind of consumers. We are also easy to find, accessible, mentally and physically. And we put the activation power on the practical use of our connections, will grow 2.5 times faster than any competitors out there. Data proven, okay, by thousands of companies. This is thanks to Kantar. Let's use this information to our advantage, okay? The value of marketing in the favor of a consumer is, even though people will always say that are working to save money, that they don't want to spend that amount of money, when the decision, the time comes into play, they irrationally will spend the money, desire will kick off, and all that is remaining is us as a company. Professor Mark Ritson summarized it perfectly. In order to justify the continued purchase of some premium brands that are deemed different and meaningful enough to retain their place, customers trade down on weaker, less essential fare. If we are able to translate this message into our companies, we will grow, or we will achieve everything that we've been looking for. Is it easy? No. Do I put in you the solution? No, I can't. Anyone on the internet will be able to put you the solution in front of you, because we don't know you, we don't know your brands, and there is not a playbook. This is not the Bible. This is a guide, and it depends completely on the person, on the time, or the moment that you are acting as a business or as a brand. Okay? Now let's keep moving to this point. Recession. We'll talk about prices, but recession is one of the biggest dilemmas that we are facing as consumers right now. The reason being is that how could you stand against something that hard that is hitting us? Well, there's a terminology called presbyphobia. Presbyphobia means old man. And this is translated, or what this actually means into marketeers, is that with age, it comes the joy of farsightedness, which means we are not able to focus on up close things. It's difficult for us. When we reach 40, suddenly distant objects become clearer than the ones that are in front of us. If we are able to see beyond inflation, which is what is right now, recession, or any other typical of another type of financial dislocation, will we not get knocked out by crisis. So presbyphobia that comes out when we are 40 is what we need right now. We need to look after our beloved inflation and recession. So how do we do that? Keep investing. We need to keep investing. We cannot cut everything. But remember, last week we said one of the key elements of price to get that is profitability. And to get profitability, we need to focus on how to gain money. But we are required to keep investing. It's kind of a contradiction, one or the other. Well, let me tell you something. Let's learn from history. That's the only thing I can do to transmit you the message. To learn from history. 2008, financial crisis. Something that changed business completely. And that I have even made a short reel about it, which is super, super fabulous. Right at the heart of the crisis, this was this severe worldwide crisis, never even imaginable. Financial timers posted all around the globe, discouraging business from cutting ad spend. And this was a joke at the time, but this joke has transformed itself to be a reality. If there is something that we learn, is that those who continued investment on the past economic downturns got out of recession and inflation and crisis ahead of their times. Okay? Maintain your marketing investment. Okay? This is what you need to do. Now, you will tell me, how? But how can I do that if we need to cut down many, many things? Prioritizing. That's the art of prioritization. We need to prioritize things. Consumers actually do that. They will prioritize their spending, what to expend money on, in what needs, what priority. With their price of prices, this will intensify. So the same thing consumers does, we need to do it as well, okay? Because we are kind of consumer on a big scale. Think about it this way: 73% of the global population admitted that they don't expect their incomes to keep pace with inflation. Therefore, they know if prices goes up, they will need to buy less. That's easy for anyone in life, okay? But during this triangle of consumers' needs, wants, no more money, prices going up, it's a big bucket of things. What do we do? First of all, we need to keep calm, okay? Advertising needs to keep going. Because advertising is the only thing to be on the mind of a consumer. Doesn't matter if you're a big player or a small one. Doesn't matter. It will keep reminding people who we are and that we should be bought. If our prices are going up, if we stop advertising, if our product cannot be improved, consumers will forget about us. And then we are dead. It's the end of the story. We will leave the market and we will fail. But now those advertising need to be branded memories, need to be long-term. Those adverts cannot be made to generate sales on the moment. They need to be able to generate value, build the brand, and affect the company profitability level for the years to come. They are not meant to be done for today. They are meant to be done for the upcoming years. Okay, just do like Airbnb during COVID. There is a UK beverage brand. Okay, this is a case study with a stable market share. They decided to go dark for a year. Okay, in a region. While they stay up in region A, they went down in region B. What effects this choice brings year 3? Okay, what happens if you stop advertising for a whole year? Market share declined by 2 percentage points. When in region B, where no investment was made. Okay, it remained stable in region A, so no decrease. In practice, the main effect of most media investment is to maintain market share. Okay, this is what advertising do, is maintain it, not increase it. You increase it through other methods. When they resume the efforts on year 3, they did not recover any of the last market share lost. None of it. So the message is clear. Short-term losses and gains have a long-lasting effect. If you stop now, you will not recover from it. The impact of going dark can be devastating. So, for a brand's future profitability, keep on investment. Seriously, keep on. Second point, pursue the market share you want. To pursue a market share that we actually want, we need to be shifting from a few terms. We need to assert the brand with the share of voice, okay, greater than the market share. Share of voice is something really undervalued. Because share of voice will actually expand our value towards consumers, will suggest more word-to-mouth repercussion, and overall, this will bring sales or companies' growth for the future in a higher way. For example, European drinks, for every 10 points of share of voice, they can expect a 1.5% of growth annually. That's a super sensitive category. Unless one, for 20% of share of voice, 1% of growth. Instead, market share of voice. It's as easy as that. And we will expect a 1-2% growth, which is exceptionally good on appreciation years. Okay. Now, when we're spending around 8 to 12, even 20% of revenue marketing, and something that keeps going. Even TikTok did something absurd, which it was 30% of revenue in marketing campaigns. Is because those who spend more on marketing campaigns are aiming higher than you are. That's as simple as that. Those who spend more on marketing aim for the moon, and you're aiming for the next city ahead of you. If you increase the ad spend more than 20%, you will gain a +1 or almost +1 share of voice during recessionary times versus a 0.5 that you will grow immediately with no other investment done. So in other words, the possibility of gaining share through increasing advertising appears to be greater than the total market lost if we go dark. Okay. I have an example here. Kellogg's doubled the ad budget, okay, whilst Post, their competitor, cut it back. And they gained double the market share, and Post never recovered it back. Procter & Gamble and Coca-Cola reaffirmed this theory by keeping their marketing investment and they saw significantly better set of voyage results. That's what big companies are doing. We need to look at what they do to actually apply the same knowledge to our advantage. And lastly, it's profits. We already mentioned them. Great marketing leads to great profits. If through our marketing campaigns we're able to generate great valued leads that will transform into sales easier, okay, that are meant to that have the awakened interest and immediately will be translated to sales. No, depending on the market, or depending on the business. It would mean the profit will keep going. Profit is not a dirty word, not something that we should be afraid of. The stronger that we build our brand, that we actually make a great campaign, the better leads we will receive. And if we are able to receive great leads, we will be able to maintain the price power. We will be able to increase profitability. And we will be able to be meaningfully different, which is the framework we are looking all around. Meaningful, different, okay? Our meaningful and different, it's 94% of the pricing power. If that campaigns make the difference and distinctiveness clear and obvious, we are there. There are two key elements on this same strategy. The more a brand is perceived as different, the more it will stand out for the competitors. And when people are looking for products to cheapen every aspect, to cut expenses, they will prioritize meaningful brands. So if we're different from the competitors but meaningful enough, they will choose us. Unilever has been out there for decades. For over a century, they create brands one after the other, so people could buy and will be willing to buy things that are in what they consider the side buckets. It's kind of the same ideology, okay? Maggi and KFC on India collaborated to deliver a fusion bowl of popcorn, chicken, and noodles. They double the value to consumers with collaborating with brands. We can collaborate with brands as well. And that way, they created a completely new refueling options, okay? They made a partner option. Companies create new systems, new products for more options, so people can save up time and has less effort, okay? Because what good companies do is to move on precision, is to move from promotion that affect the price to perception that affect the value. When we make the move from price to value, we will be there. We increase our value as a brand. Our price sensitivity will not decrease, rather increase, and overall, we'll have higher leads, higher sales, and all that we mentioned. Okay, I hope it gets clear with that thing. It's all about the perspective and the strategy we take to survive recession, to have price sensitivity, and to be there once these hard times ends. Ooh, long one. I really enjoy this report. If you have a chance, please read it by yourself, because I think it will make a huge impact on your way of thinking. It has done it for me dramatically. So it could do the same thing for you and for your companies. Let's finish up, okay? We have the last point, loyalty. Loyalty is a term that the more time it goes, the more people stop talking about it. Because some time ago, a common belief came out saying that it's cheaper to sign a new customer than keeping an existing one. So all of a sudden, companies stopped caring nothing about customers. They went for new as much as they could. Then this thing changed, and they start saying that keeping customers is more important. We should work on loyalty. And now we are on a point where it's equal, pretty much. There are no many difference. Okay, this old concept of the big ticket uh, stop being reality. Like if a customer who has big tickets, you don't care about new ones because those big tickets will pay for the difference of the new ones, and the brand churn rate will be literally irrelevant. The action of the time was simply that if you retain 5% of high ticket customers, you will pay off for the 95% of irregular customers that you have, and profits will be around there. So the thing is, loyalty for people is synonym of marriage. Like you marry some brand forever, but on a world where there are like thousands of brands, this is kind of hard to believe. So it's not like loyalty has disappeared. It's just that it's a concept that it's harder to find because there are so many options and so many competitors that it's not you playing alone. You have you yourself and 12 more teams. So being loyal is just harder. But what is more important? So people really give a lot of importance to loyalty. But is this really important? There are 5 studies that cover this report that goes over loyalty, and they try to achieve or seek out what's most important to be in the ground of customers, right? So to be in the mind of a consumer, should we really go for loyalty or should we really not care about it? These 5 consumers are super long and super intrinsic, so we are not gonna go through every single detail of them. But just so you have an idea, 20% of branch users, which are the top high frequency, account for 50% of sales, not 80. So if we have 20% of high volume, high tickets, that's around 50% of our sales. That is more than enough to cover half of the profits. So those are the frequent buyers. But if we neglect the non-frequent, the not buyer, the ones that are right on the fence, we're losing half of the market just by missing on that fruit, as I call it. So what you need to account for is that heavy buyers are not gonna pay for the rest. Heavy buyers are crucial for half of your company, but the other half needs to also be taken care of if you wanna actually achieve good numbers out of it. So similar as targeting those repeated purchases, you could target those new ones, those activations, so you get the 50% missing point of the equation. How can you do that? Well, emotions are validated, or emotions are shown to trigger repeat purchases. We saw it on different previous points. As humans who loves to have habits, to have that behavior, if we are able to cope up with their social, to drive their behavior, they will resonate back with our brand, which will lead into a significant boost for the company and therefore for the repurchase. So work on emotions as your fair points so you guarantee the 50% high volume purchases to keep coming once and the other. Now, for the remaining 50%, work on experiences that brings memories. Set up clear experiences that brings memories. So every time people come up with your brand, mentally or physically, they have positive or negative, depending on how well you've done it, of each brand. And that's what we call top of mind, brand image, and it's the salience that we need to be really good at. So every time we are right on the fence, right on the touch points, we come up top on first. For big brands and small ads, both of them TV ads, needs to be one of the most influential touch points. Then, the ones that is the closest between each one is having the own service experience. If you own your product and your service experience and it's wonderful, that will be able to fight the closest small brands versus big brands. Quality of the memory during the experience. That's the touch point that I will look for the highest. And that will bring and generate the maximum retention for growth long term. Experience matters. So try to associate your brands with those experiences. When you do that, price becomes the single last determinator of consumer choice. And if you done points 3, 4, 5, and 6 correctly, you will have a high price sensitivity, you will have really good attributes clear for them, and that experience will translate into a sale, that will translate into a resale, and finally will increase their profits or overall. The question that we need to ask is not whether to target heavy or light or no buyers, but rather how can I make my brand the preferred one among every category. Repeat it, light, not color. What we know as loyalty, what everyone thinks is loyalty, is nothing more than is my brand the preferred one or not. That's the shift and the change for marketers. Now, don't talk about loyalty programs, those need talk coupons. Those are techniques from the past. Now is being preferred or not. Remember, it's not either or. Okay, it's both. By increasing brand predisposition, by repeating a purchases and having the same experience for customers, by penetrating every area possible, by being available physically and mentally, and by activating our spend through campaigns, all accordingly, all together, all being effective. It's how we will be remembered as a brand and as a company. Okay, and that's the shift of terminology in loyalty, and that's the last point of our dilemmas. It's been 7 insanely big dilemma with many examples, with many data in less than 2 hours. So this is not enough time to cover deep enough each topic. This is why it's always an open conversation. The industry has a lot of evidence, a lot of approaches, and it's not about being right or wrong. It's about discussion, it's about talking, and it's about scratching our heads to find what we should do. The best results don't come from picking a side, but from knowing which side we are and carefully listen to the other. So we can learn from every aspect of. You wouldn't expect to talk so much about price, about economics, about financing as a marketeer, but yet you have to, because now we are facing that wall. When the crash of .com came in, this was another episode of shift in paradigm on how to adapt. With the reason of e-commerce, many companies need to adapt. Depending on the moment we live in, these dilemmas will shift. This will not be useful 20 years from now. This recession will not even be a thing, but another thing will. So now as today, the guidance is about connecting within your department with the people listening. And if we manage to listen everything and to have data, the answers will come. I'm pretty sure about it, because they are there somewhere in between all of the things we're doing. I'm wrapping up today's episode. It's a 50-page long report that I love reading through a lot. I love Kantar. They do an immense amount of job, and I learn a lot about them. I don't even know half of the things deep enough to be considered or to consider myself any sort of expert on the topic. I'm just here with my voice trying to put out there these ideas the best I can. But just trying is not enough, so I need you to comment, to interact, and to bring anything if you have opinions, ideas, or whatever you feel like. If not, you know you have content daily on all my social media, so you can always hit me up there or in my webpage, which is the start of our journey, ourcsjourney.com, for more information. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming today, and I'll see you next week.